Welcome to Jerry's Fish Room.
Okay guys, welcome back to Jerry's Fish Room. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I've had a video posted. Unfortunately, I had some personal issues that I had to deal with. But I'm back and looking forward to getting back and excited. Now, as you can tell, I'm sitting here in front of the 180. The last video that you saw on this 180 was sitting in my garage. And so I had the fortunate experience of having a good friend of mine, James with Community Aquatics, my local fish store. He recruited up some help and they moved this tank in here for me. So that way I didn't have to figure out how to get that done. They took care of it for me. And so just a shout out to James with Community Aquatics here in DeLand, Florida. So thank you so much, James. Appreciate you, brother. Looking forward to continuing this process with you as we have sat down and talked about plants. And you can see in the background there's a little bit of work that's been done, but I will be adding that to the next video, kind of how we got to here, and then we'll develop with the substrate and all of that. So but wanted again just thank everybody for coming on board and watching this. This is going to be the resealing of this tank. I wanted to do a quick video putting that together, just showing you how I did. Yeah, I can tell you the tank's been sitting in my garage for about a month now. It had full of water and no leaks, so fingers crossed that pumping it down and getting it in here and we'll still have the same success. But we'll find out when I do that. So for now, let's come along with me and I will walk you through how I resealed this tank. All right, guys, here is my new 180 gallon project. It's got a lid, which I'll show you over here. This is going to take some work, but sometimes there's the lid, and sometimes these things, when you get them, they require a lot of work to get them in shape. So first thing I'm going to do, because this tank is fairly old, is I'm going to go through resealing it. And as you can tell, I've had it here for a couple weeks, so it's dried out on the bottom. I've already taken some of the gravel out, but man, what a mess. That's all the stuff that detritus and all that stuff all dried up. And so it's going to be interesting. Got a new project here, and we're going to see what it takes. This is kind of a before video for you. Just wanted to kind of run this by you. So that you all see where the starting point is. So ultimately, hopefully we'll get this thing looking pretty. Alright guys, not always the best start to shooting these videos, but here you see me, I'm using a caulking removal tool that I got from Ace Hardware, and I'll be honest with you, this made the removal of the bulk caulking so much simpler. Also, the way it's designed, it won't get in between the panes of glass because you don't want to mess with that caulking, because that's the caulking that's actually holding the aquarium together. You're just trying to remove the caulking that is associated with giving it a seal. And so as you can see, also I've got a little scraper with interchangeable razor blades that I can change out. You know, one of the biggest things that you want to make sure, and you see me cleaning the bottom of the aquarium, not just because you know, it's pretty nasty and I wanted to clean it up anyway and get it as clean as possible, but by doing this was allowing me to make sure that I get all the debris, or as much of the debris as possible, because you don't want any loose debris hanging around any of those corners and where those seams are, because that will create air bubbles, and air bubbles are not a good thing when it comes to sealing an aquarium. So I've sped this section up just to give you a little bit of an idea of the work that it took. Alright guys, so pretty much have gotten everything cleared up in the sense of getting these corners straightened out, getting all the caulking and little debris, cleaned up the bottom of the tank, got rid of as much of that stuff as I could, took the shop vac, vacuumed it all out, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to just start working these corners here and just cleaning any debris, getting that surface nice and clean, so that I can take the caulking and we can go with a bead of caulk around it, so that way there's just no debris, nothing there. I'm using the rubbing alcohol just because it evaporates rather quickly, and you won't leave much for residue. You know, again, trying to clean this tank and so forth, I'm going to probably fill it and drain it 3, 4, 5 times just to make sure that I got nothing going in there that it's going to cause a problem. But this stuff, rubbing alcohol it evaporates pretty quickly. Be careful when you're using this. Also, when we get into that part where I'm going to start putting the silicone in, you may want to cover up your face, try to help with some of the fumes. So let me go ahead and get started with this, and we'll go from there. Again, the biggest thing you want to focus on while you're doing this is you want to clean that area that's about 1 inch away from the corner. Get that whole area clean, because this glass is about 1/2 inch thick. So I'm going to tape it off about 1/2 inch away from the edge on the inside when we do that bead of caulk. So, you know, I try to do about 1 inch area all the way down around the bottom of the tank to keep this thing clean. Alright guys, as you can tell, I'm doing the next step on another day. Been a few days process as I've gone through and started working on this, because yeah, schedules being busy, craziness of life, you know how that goes, doing some remodeling in the kitchen, that type of stuff, and so I get to come out here and just kind of piecemeal this together little by little. Last thing we talked about was I took that alcohol, rubbing alcohol, which I have right here, and we went down along all the sides, all the corners, about 1 inch or so away from the edges, trying to get that really clean. Went back in with the shop vac, cleaned up any residue, double and triple checked it to make sure I had smooth surfaces, no caulk debris, no dirt. Because all of that stuff is not good when you're going to caulk a tank or reseal a tank, because it can create little air pockets, air bubbles, and it can cause places of failure. So the plan is, next step, because I am a sloppy caulker and it's really a good thing to do anyway, is I'm going to take this painter's tape, and then I'm going to go ahead and start taping off this tank on the inside. Again, I don't know this stuff. I just picked up on YouTube. This glass is close to about 1/2 inch thick, something like 5/8 or excuse me 3/8 or something like that. But anyway, it's good thick glass. So one of the recommendations that I've seen online was basically whatever the thickness of the glass is. If this was the corner, you know, you want to tape it off, that thickness of that glass, away from the corner of the tank. And then we'll fill that with caulk, and then once we do that, we'll go in as soon as the caulk is down. You don't want to wait till it dries. We'll go in and we'll remove this stuff. So let me get set up here and get it all taped off. Alright guys, tank is taped off. Sorry about that, the camera died on me, ran out of batteries. So probably didn't get to show you as much as I wanted to, but you get the idea about taping off the corners. Again, try as best as you can to keep about the width of the glass away from the corner with that blue tape. And then get it all taped off all the way across. You can do the bottom if you want or not. I prefer to do the bottom. I kind of like to keep everything neat and clean. Again, so everything is clean, everything is taped off, and we're ready for the caulking part. Now guys, I bought this caulking. Let's see if it'll focus. Kind of focus it in here. There we go. A little black silicone. It is, if you look at it, it's Aquascaper Pro. I think I paid about $11 a tube. You can get cheaper caulk than this, but you want to make sure it's 100% silicone, no additives. I prefer, just because of safety issue, I prefer to go ahead and pick something that actually has a aquarium safe listed on the caulk. That way I've got no concerns whatsoever that this might be a problem for my fish. Alright guys, sorry about the shortened part of the video. I didn't get to show you as much as I wanted to on the caulking part. I will say, man, it was a little bit difficult. A couple things I noticed that I battled with was the caulk itself. I kept it in the garage. I'm here in Florida. It gets a little warm down here, and so the caulk was a little looser than I really would have liked. Also because it's Florida and it's hot, one of the battles I struggled with was trying to get this thing caulked and everything smoothed out as much as I could before that caulk started to dry, which it gives that light skin feel to the top, so and it becomes a little harder to work with. So I am done. It's been 5 days since I did the work. Today is the day that we're going to put some water in it and see what the outcome is. I will grab the camera here real quick and show you a little bit about show you a little bit of the caulking that I did, the finished product. However, I will say it's not quite what I wanted. It didn't come out exactly the way I wanted. I've got it kind of gooped up in a couple of spots, especially on the bottom, which won't be a big problem because the substrate will cover that. First go around, first time. We're going to go ahead and throw some water in it. I do have two concerns about this tank. It is a bottom drilled tank that had some bulkheads. This tank's been sitting dry for about 6 weeks now. So I don't know what is going to happen with those bulkheads, and hopefully this caulking job is good enough. Once I get it filled up, I'm going to let it set for a month out here. Just to make sure, because that's a lot of water to bring into the house, and I don't want to have a problem after the fact. So, alright, well, let me show you the caulk job real quick, and then we're going to hook up a hose and we'll start filling it up. Alright, so this is kind of the caulk job, the best that I can show you. If you look, you'll see down here towards the bottom, that's where it gets a little bit messy. Again, it's been 5 days, and we're going to turn around and take a look at it and see where we go. We're sealed up, and we're going to see what happens. Again, hopefully it holds. There's a little better, hopefully, of kind of the pathetic caulk job that I did. But all it has to do is hold water. So, and it doesn't look too bad as far as display. Alright guys, we got about 2 inches or so here left, and we're going to be good to go. So one thing I wanted to just quick talk about, because again, this tank is it's an older tank now that it's resealed, and hopefully everything will stay dry. Yeah, there's some hard water stains and so forth on it, and so I want to try to repurpose or re-clean this tank. And shout out to Joey DIY. I found one of his videos about how to clean one of these tanks to get rid of the hard water stains, and we're going to give it a shot, and I'll do a quick video or add that to it. Is Barkeeper's Friend. Let's see if I can zoom in here. There you go, Barkeeper's Friend. Of course, you know, it's a cleanser that they use for glasses and different things at the bar. In his video, at least, it really cleaned up the hard water stains in his tank that he did. And I keep looking there because I want to make sure I don't overflow it, because y'all have been there, I'm sure. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and use this, clean it up. We're going to make sure the tank's rinsed out. I will, using anything inside my tank to clean it, like this or anything else, I'll be, man, filling this up and draining it, filling it up and draining it probably 3, 4, 5 times to make sure there's no residue left. But this has been used before in the hobby, so we're going to give it a shot, see if we get the same results as Joey does, and we'll clean this thing up. All right, guys, thanks for walking through how to reseal this tank, or how I did it. I apologize about the video. Probably was a little choppy here. Didn't get to show everything I wanted to, or the whole process. But hopefully in my explanation as we were going through it, that kind of helps you out. But there are other videos on YouTube. That's how I learned, was watching those videos on YouTube on how to reseal a tank. Go check out Joey on the Joey DIY guy, because he is kind of the one I really focused on to be able to do this. So thanks for coming along with me, guys. Again, thank you so much. We've hit 100 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's our first goal. I want to keep growing this channel. Hopefully you guys like what you see. And if you do, please give it a thumbs up, like those videos, subscribe, share, and guys, hit that bell so that you can be reminded every time I drop a video. And so guys, until next week, you know what's coming. Keep loving the fish.